Picture this. You're standing on a quiet street in Perth, Ontario. The town is asleep. No cars, no voices. Just the soft creak of old trees swaying in the wind. And at the end of the road, there's a house. By daylight, it looks harmless, historic, even beautiful. But at night, people say strange and unexplained things happen. They say the air feels heavier, that the floors creak in places no one's walking, that doors slam on their own. Visitors have reported hearing footsteps echoing through empty halls, slow, measured, as if someone is pacing, waiting. And then there are the whispers. Not loud, not clear, just enough to make you lean in. Just enough to make you wonder if someone is standing right behind you. Some people leave quickly. Others don't like to talk about what they experienced at all.
This is one of the places he likes to sit. It's quite a lovely spot. It's right beside the window. So nice sunshine here comes in. It's right next to our fireplace here, which of course would be going all the time. I can't think of a nicer place to come and hang out. But there have been many accounts of it'll be a quiet day like this. Nobody's in the house. There'll be nobody near the rocking chair. And there's been numerous accounts where all of a sudden it just starts rocking all by itself.
I'm Nadine Bailey, and this is Haunted Canada. Today, I'm joined by writer and historian Susan Code as we step inside one of Ontario's most unsettling historic homes. This is A Haunting in Perth, the Matheson House story. To understand the story of Matheson House, you have to understand Perth itself. The town was founded in 1816 in the aftermath of the War of 1812, along the quiet banks on the Tay River, west of Ottawa. It began as a military settlement. The mostly limestone buildings that lined its streets were intended to house discharged soldiers and European immigrants. Many of them were Irish and Scottish, arriving with little more than tools, hope, and trauma from war. The river winds gently through the town, shaping both the landscape and the people who have called this place home for generations. Long before roads, storefronts, or military settlements appeared, this land was home to the Algonquin people, and they traveled the waterways connecting rivers and lakes throughout what is now eastern Ontario. Their connection to this area goes back thousands of years, and this land is the unceded territory of the Algonquin and Anishinaabe people. European settlers arrived much later, and by the end of the War of 1812, British officials looked for ways to strengthen their presence in Upper Canada, and fearing another American invasion, they established a military settlement near the border. Perth was named after the city in Scotland, and it was chosen by acting governor Sir Gordon Drummond to honor Scottish settlers. One of those was Roderick Matheson. He was born in Lochcarron, Ross-shire, Scotland, in 1793 and immigrated to Upper Canada around 1806. He served with the Glengarry Fencibles during the War of 1812, and by the time the war ended, he was a lieutenant. Historian Susan Code said that in 1817, he settled in Perth as part of its earliest wave of new settlers that had been granted land to form a new community built on both defense and opportunity.
Roderick Matheson was one of these officers who fought in the War of 1812. And he had worked in the quartermaster's department when he was in the war, so that meant he knew all about supplies. And he became a merchant when he came here, and he prospered, did really, really well, became one of Perth's wealthiest citizens, involved in all kinds of business activities, very involved in the local militia. In fact, one of his titles is Colonel Matheson. He became a colonel of the local militia.
These early settlers cleared the forest, built homes, and laid the foundations of what would become one of Ontario's most well-preserved historic towns. In the years that followed, the construction of the Rideau Canal brought new life to the region. Originally intended as a military supply route, the canal quickly became a vital transportation and trade corridor, drawing skilled workers, merchants, and families to the area. Perth began to grow. Stone replaced timber. Roads were expanded as the military settlement slowly transformed into a thriving community where Roderick Matheson operated a general store and was a director of the Tay Navigation Company. Matheson married his first wife, Mary Fraser Robertson, in Montreal on November 5, 1823. Sadly, she died giving birth to twin boys, John and Roderick, in 1825. 5 years later, he found love again when he married Annabel Russell in Scotland on August 11, 1830. By then, Perth was growing into something more stable. It felt less like a frontier outpost and more of a community. And with that stability came permanence. Stone buildings replaced wood. Families began to think not just about survival, but legacy. And Roderick Matheson had a lot of opportunities for one because he had 7 daughters and 4 sons. But of his 7 daughters, only 1 married. By 1840, he was thriving and he built a large limestone house at the center of town that reflected his success. In 1847, he was appointed to the Legislative Council of the Province of Canada, and Matheson's life was deeply intertwined with the community, which mourned alongside him when his wife sadly passed away in 1954. A year later, Matheson was made colonel and put in charge of the 1st Military District of Canada West. He was then named a senator after Confederation. Meanwhile, the home remained a hub for the family. It is where they gathered and where life unfolded. It is also where Roderick Matheson drew his last breath. He died on January 13, 1873, surrounded by his children.
On the other side, he also had 13 children, so yes. busy. In demand, yes. So this is actually the second house he built on this site. The first house he built, as he started to father more children, it kind of outgrew it. So they rolled that house down the street and they built this wonderful stone mansion, which is right in the center of town, right at the main intersection of town. So, I mean, life passed him. Yeah, he was right in the thick of things. So, incredibly influential. And the house remained in the Matheson family till about 1930 when the last of his 13 children passed away.
Constructed from local limestone, the Matheson House reflected the Georgian architectural style popular in British North America at the time. It was balanced, orderly, and designed to project stability. This wasn't a cabin or a temporary structure. It was a home meant to last. And as I mentioned, the family was deeply tied to both the town and the rhythms of the 19th century, cooking over open hearths, heating rooms with wood stoves, drawing water manually, and, importantly, caring for the sick at home. Because in the 1800s, hospitals were rare, especially in smaller towns like Perth. If someone fell ill, they stayed in the house. If they died, they often died there too. Funerals were frequently held in the parlor. Family members would gather around the body, sometimes for days. Susan said, death wasn't hidden away like it is today. It was a part of daily life.
Few of the children would have been, you died in the home in those days. So there would have been quite a few deaths here, and that would just be normal. So would have been waked in the home. The place would have been draped in black. We actually do have some funeral wreaths here dating from the time, which is made out of hair of family members.
And houses like Matheson House absorbed it. If you believe that places can hold energy, can hold memories, then Matheson House has had nearly 2 centuries to collect it. As Susan said, the Matheson House remained a family home until about 1930.
Then it had a couple of other purposes after that. It was a boutique inn hotel. And then after the Second World War, the Legion set up house here. And then in the 60s, there was a Matheson Museum collection that was outgrowing the space it was in. And anyway, as Perth Centennial Project, this house was available because the Legion had moved out. They had outgrown out. So big campaign, the town bought the house, the museum collection moved in, and the house was restored. So we have many period rooms here, including the one I'm in, which is the 1840s kitchen. Most of the rooms have been restored to the 1840s period when the house was first built. And Roderick Matheson liked it so much, he's still here.
That's right. Susan believes the original owner of the home is still inside the house, which has been carefully preserved to help tell the story of the Matheson family and the early days of the town. Visitors can walk through the same hallways, stand in the same rooms, and look out the same windows as Roderick Matheson did nearly 2 centuries ago. And Susan says it's not the only haunted building in town, but it is the most well-known.
Perth actually has quite a few haunted buildings. The Matheson House is one of the best documented haunted houses, and it is Roderick Matheson. We do know that. He is present. I have never experienced him. As I tell people, I just tell the stories. If I ever encountered anything, I would fall flat in my face. But we do have a long-time staff member here. She's encountered him the most of anybody. And there's just been too many encounters and experiences to dismiss it. All our ghosts in Perth we have no poltergeists. They're not mean, they're not nasty. They just like living here.
As I mentioned earlier, the spirit staff are most familiar with is that of the former owner, Roderick Matheson.
This is one of the places he likes to sit. It's quite a lovely spot. It's right beside the window. So nice sunshine here comes in. It's right next to our fireplace here, which of course would be going all the time. I can't think of a nicer place to come and hang out. But there have been many accounts of it'll be a quiet day like this. Nobody's in the house. There's nobody coming in from outside. There'll be nobody near the rocking chair. And there's been numerous accounts where all of a sudden it just starts rocking all by itself. Another thing he likes to do is play chess. There is a chess set that has been in a couple of different rooms in the house, depending on how they've chosen to tell the stories. It's not a place where people will go and guests can go in and people can go in and touch it. And there's been many accounts where at night, the staff goes around, they turn out the lights and they check everything. And when they come back the next morning, they will see that the pieces have been moved in recognizable chess moves.
Susan mentioned there's one staff member that has experienced him the most, and that's because they would often be working in the office, which is a long, narrow room on the main floor at the front of the house. But before it was an office, it was the home's sick room, a place where a cold would be kept away from the rest of the family to prevent illness from spreading through the house, and where a mother or servant could easily look in from the front or check on the sick child while the rest of the house carried on. Today, it remains an active room in the house, but for different reasons.
And there was one little boy who was sick quite a bit, and he was in his nickname was Cubby. He was in there a lot Anyways, when she had this room as her office, because it had a beeline, she could see the front door if people were coming in. And she figures her desk was set up where the bed would have been, and she was sitting probably where Mrs. Matheson or, one of the maids would have sat. And so it would always be on a day when she was preoccupied, and she would all of a sudden get a glimpse out of the corner of her eye, this distinguished looking gentleman, wearing the black frock coat with the high starch collar, pacing back and forth in the library. And she gets this overwhelming urge to go and talk to him. And as soon as she gets up to go and talk to him, she feels this hand on her shoulder as if to say, they're there, everything's going to be all right. And sure enough, by the end of the day, she gets a phone call or email or, something that resolves whatever the issue was. Summer students have also encountered it. And young people, from what I've understood, seem to be, I don't know, it's been more open to it or there's something about them. But as I said, this room here is very active. And there was one summer student once who actually refused to come into this room. If she had to do a tour, she would just stand at the entrance. There's actually two like an entrance and an exit here, that just the way it happens to work out. And she would just stand at one door, say her bit, and then walk around the outside of the room and do the other one. And she's come back as a visitor, and she still will not come into this kitchen. She experienced the rocking chair, and I guess she just feels a presence.
Susan said that one summer student had such a scary encounter with the home's permanent resident that he quit on the spot.
Another summer student, unfortunately, it was the first day he was working alone. And, he comes to work and he opens up, and on the staircase was this man who, and I can't do a Scottish accent, but basically this man just sort of yelled at him and said, "Get out of my house." And so he did. And he phoned the curator at the time and said, basically, "I quit." It was a Saturday, and this wasn't his first day on the job, but it was his first day on his own. Anyways, the curator, it was supposed to be his day off, he said, "Meet me at the restaurant next door." And it took him about an hour to calm him down. Don't quit. Don't quit on me. And, they went back, and it took a few Saturdays where the curator had to give up his Saturdays. Well, he just, he came and did paperwork or whatever, just so this young man would feel comfortable in the house. So, as I said, this is a well-documented haunted house. Again, nothing mean or anything, just this is his home.
Of course, there are explanations. Old buildings make noise as wood expands and contracts. Air pressure shifts. Floors creak. And when you're in a place filled with history, your mind fills the gaps. It's easy to turn a sound into a story, a shadow into a presence. But even skeptics admit there's something about places like Matheson House that feels different. The reason Roderick's presence feels real could be because of who he was and how connected he was to his home and to Perth. He valued order, responsibility, and his house. And even in death, that may not have changed.
Just Matheson is the only spirit here. The hospital has 3 ghosts, but there's only one here for Matheson, so that's all you need. He was a presence. So he was a presence when he was alive, and he's a presence when he's dead. It is part of the fabric of the house. So yeah. Anyone who works here, you know about it. It is a well-known. The other well-known haunted house in town is our hospital. So these are, which has actually been written up in like Ghost Stories of Ontario and stuff. So these are. Yeah, they live here. That's all I can say is they live here. This is their home.
Susan said those who have encountered Roderick Matheson are not frightened in the way you might expect, because in the museum, there are no stories of any violence, no stories of anything trying to hurt anyone. Instead, the stories are quieter than that.
The longtime staff member, she sees him quite regularly. She's the one who, he taps her on the shoulder to say everything is all right. So she's the one who's experienced him the most. Worked here a long time, but she has seen him many times. So and various other people, just volunteers, board members at the museum. So on the staircase, coming up from the front door up to the stairs. So he was just about to go upstairs to turn on the lights upstairs, and this man, Colonel Matheson, was standing on the staircase telling him to get out of his house. So he did. The Scottish accent, yes. I think it's quite obvious that it's not a person. It's a presence of some sort. So an energy. Yeah.
That energy has been described as being watched, not in a threatening way, but in a way that made them feel like they were not alone. While most people believe the presence is Roderick Matheson, there are others who believe he may not be the only one who never left. After all, this was a house filled with families for decades. Children were born here, raised here, and sadly, family members died here. And wherever life happens, stories often remain. Because there's a concept in paranormal research known as residual haunting. The idea that certain events, especially emotional or repeated ones, can imprint themselves on a place. Not ghosts exactly, more like echoes, moments replaying, energy lingering. If that's true, the Matheson House, which has stood at the center of Perth, Ontario for nearly 2 centuries, with decades of life, illness, death, and routine, it would be the perfect place for those echoes to remain. Because when the doors are closed and the rooms are quiet, they say it doesn't always feel empty. So the next time you find yourself in Perth, Ontario, you might walk past Matheson House during the day. You might admire the architecture, the history, the craftsmanship. But if you were to stay there at night, when the streets are empty, when the windows reflect nothing but darkness, you might start to wonder, how many people have stood in those rooms before you? How many never truly left? Thank you for joining me as we explored Matheson House, and a special thanks to Susan Code for taking the time to talk with me. I really do appreciate it. If you want to check out Matheson House, I will link their website in the show notes. Do you have a ghost story or haunting or a paranormal encounter? If yes, email it to me so I can share it with the listeners on this podcast. Haunted Canada is sponsored by the Edmonton Ghost Tours. I will link the website in the show notes. Haunted Canada is written and produced by me, Nadine Bailey, with senior producer Dila Velasquez. Production and sound design is by Rob Johnston, with help from Corey Price. If you would like to support this podcast, please follow, share, and tell a friend about this podcast. We would also appreciate a like and a 5-star written review. Also, you can follow me under different social media platforms, including TikTok and my YouTube channel, Haunted Canada. Do you have a ghost story, haunting, or a true crime about your house, a museum, a resort, really anywhere for that fact, that you would like for us to cover on this podcast? If yes, please email me through the website hauntedcanada.com. Hey everyone, I've got some exciting news. I will be hosting a haunted and paranormal tour of Ireland this coming August 2026 in partnership with my friend Joanne at Expedia. We will be visiting haunted locations, staying in haunted castles, and exploring many historical places while delving into ghosts, hauntings, and paranormal activity, so be sure to bring your EMF readers. If you want any more information about this, please visit the website Haunted Canada, check my TikTok. All the information is posted there, including the information about the tour, the itinerary, and how you can book. I can't wait to explore Ireland with you, and remember, space is limited, so book early. Thank you from all of us at Haunted Canada and Curious Cast. Have a good night, everyone, and stay haunted.